Good evening, my dear student. Once again, on behalf of IA Thane branch, I, Dr. Nishikanja, welcoming you all for today's session on Partnership Final Account Part 2. I think yesterday ma'am has taught you entire theory aspect. Today, ma'am is going to discuss about the practical aspect. As far as partnership final account is concerned, few things which I believe should be kept in mind. Of course, most of the time it will be a trader, so trading account, profit and loss account, and profit and loss appropriation account is very important account which consists the partners related income and expenditure, interest on capital, interest on drawing, partner salary, remuneration to the partner, etc., etc. And when it comes to admission retirement, I believe two things which is very integral and important. One is ratio, calculation, old ratio, new ratio, sacrifice ratio, gain ratio, and second is treatment of goodwill. I mean, if you have focus on these aspects, it would be very easy for you to attempt the question when it comes to admission, retirement, or death of the partner in partnership during the process, during the business, because they cannot stop the business. In between, there will be entry. In between, there might be death, or in between, there will be retirement. So, pre and post, kind of calculation will come, and these things will definitely going to help you a lot. I'm not going to teach you as such, but you are going to learn these lesson from today's resource person, none other than Dr. Neelam Sheikh. बेटा, it is rightly stated, ये सही कहा गया है कि हारकर बैठ जाने वालों के चर्चे नहीं होते, हारकर बैठ जाने वालों के चर्चे नहीं होते, संघर्ष करके उठने वालों का इतिहास जरूर बनता है. संघर्ष करके उठने वालों का इतिहास जरूर बनता है. और हम लोग भी आज एक इतिहास बनाने की कोशिश में है. आपके पूरे आईए थाने ब्रांच के जो ऑफिस बेरर हैं, अरविंद लोहार सर, कुलदीप शर्मा सर, माई सेल्फ एंड माई स्टूडेंट टीम, which is Kanish, Vignesh, Ajit, Harshal, and now new team member has joined, Riddhi. She is assisting us for technical whenever the faculty required, their PowerPoint presentation. So I'm very happy that these children are also learning during this phase, and they are also upgrading their knowledge along with the student across the nation, across the globe. And you all are listening. You all are learning, and I believe we will definitely going to have many sessions in days to come. And one more again reminder to you all, my dear student, as our chairman IA Thane branch, Dr. Arvind Luhar sir, is absent today in absentia. We really miss his guidance, his motivation, his inspiration. He is really a true mentor for all of us for making these events successful throughout the nation or throughout the world. One more thing, dear student, as I told you that we had lot of career counseling sessions. We have making you aware that university portal has been already started. Kindly start filling up your forms. On Sunday, we'll be having a very distinct kind of session, which will be Vedic maths from 11 to 1 by chartered accountant doctors Jinesh Shah. I'm definitely sure you are going to enjoy. On Friday, we have the session on piecemeal distribution of cash. On Saturday, we have session on financial management part 1 by Rahul sir. So these all sessions are very important and integral for all of you. Kindly learn, keep learning, and you also create a history. जैसे मैंने बताया कि आप संघर्ष कर रहे हो, आज पेंडेमिक के पीरियड में आप पढ़ रहे हो, तो डेफिनेटली आप एक नए इतिहास को रचोगे. एंड हमारी सारी शुभकामना आपके साथ हैं. If you want to have any kind of assistance required for career counseling, feel free to contact us. We all are there to serve you all. We are there to help you out. But without appropriate counseling, don't take any wrong decisions, and which will, going to face lot of problem for you to overcome those problems. So with these notes, now I'll request our treasurer of the IA Thane branch, Dr. Kuldeep Sharma sir, who is member board of studies of banking, insurance, and investment management. Sir also has a more than a decade experience. Sir has produced several PhD research scholar from University of Mumbai and MPhil research scholar from University of Mumbai. Sir is an author. He is also a researcher, and he has visited many universities for taking PhD Viva Voce exam. So I will ask Kuldeep Sharma sir to propose formal vote of thanks. Over to you, Kuldeep sir.
Thank you, Nishikant sir. Thank you for your brief introduction about me. After listening my introduction, I thought I should take a VRS because I've done a lot. So thank you very much. Let me take this opportunity to propose vote of thanks for today's function speaker as well as the person who are available here, offline and online. First of all, I would like to thank the chairman of our Indian Accounting Association and chairman of Board of Studies Accountancy, University of Mumbai, and head of Accountancy Department, Ismail Yusuf College, as well as academic council member of University of Mumbai, Dr. Arvind Lohar sir. So much position he is having, it is impossible to tell each and every position. Sir has, always guided us to conduct a various programs on a different topics. Sir always help us, in giving all the any type of program on Indian Accounting Thana chapter platform. Sir, thank you very much, for there always with us as a friend, mentor, and guide. Now, I would like to thank our General Secretary of Indian Accounting Association Thana chapter, Dr. Nishikant sir, who is also a member Board of Studies Accounts and Finance and Financial Management, University of Mumbai, Executive Council member of one of the oldest social science institute of India, Indian Economic Association, and head of accountancy department of Thakur College. And very few people are aware. Dr. Nishikant sir also have three patents under his name, and this is a very big achievement for a commerce teacher. Sir is a charismatic personality, and he have a kind of a, personality where always attract people. Have a great student following, and we know before starting this program we were discussing the formula which Nishikant sir is having. I don't know because from last so many years we are a friend, but he never shared those formula with me. Sir, thank you very much for arranging this event and coordinating with various stakeholders to organize a program of different caliber. Sir, you are one of the important person of our Indian Accounting Association, and I feel in future you have a great achievement to come. And just want to share some, praise of Hindi in your honor. There is a one says, जर्रों में रह गुजर कर चमक छोड़ जाऊंगा, पहचान अपनी दूर तलक छोड़ जाऊंगा, जर्रों में रह गुजर कर चमक छोड़ जाऊंगा, पहचान अपनी दूर तलक छोड़ जाऊंगा, यूं खामोशियों की मौत गवारा नहीं मुझे. So this is what we have Nishikant sir in front of us. He always want to do something so that people will remember him for years to come, and definitely one day we all will remember that Nishikant sir was associated with us. Sir, thank you very much for there with us, and giving your time to Indian Accounting Association Thana chapter. And I know you are making a history which everybody is future. Now, I would like to thank our speaker for the day, Dr. Neelam Shaikh, for giving her most valuable time for guiding our student on partnership final account. She has already taken a session yesterday on final accounting. Today, she will going to teach us the practical aspect of partnership account in a simple way. Ma'am, thank you very much for your time, your support to our association as well as to our student for giving your valuable time. At the end, I thank my technical team Vignesh, Kanich, Ajit, Harshal, now new member is Riddhi, for their continuous support from backstage. I also thank our participants who are attending this lecture from different parts of the world. Once again, thanks to each of you. Now I request Dr. Neelam Sheikh Madam to start her session. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Kuldeep Sharma, sir. Respected Dr. Arvind Rohar, sir, Chairman Accountancy, University of Mumbai, Chairman Indian Accounting Association, Thana Branch, Dr. Nishikant Jha, Secretary of Indian Accounting Association, Thana Branch, and the Treasurer of Indian Accounting Association, Kuldeep Sharma, sir. It's really a pleasure and proud to be a lifetime member of Indian Accounting Association, and definitely, sir, I would like to contribute from my side, as you all are indulged with such a good social activities, providing sessions to the such students who are at the corner of the world, who are couldn't able to connect and couldn't get that kind of facility available. It's really appreciable, and I'm really feel proud to be a part of such social welfare activity along with you all. And as Kuldeep Sharma sir have rightly said, definitely I'll be a part, and henceforth also whenever the things are required, definitely you can connect me. I'm happy to work together on such part of it. Now, as far as today's session is concerned, yesterday I have already, as Nishikant sir have rightly said, that whenever we go for partnership final account, the very first part which we definitely going to be connect here is the ratios calculations. So that ratios part we have already covered yesterday, the calculations part and everything we have done. Along with that, yesterday we have also deal with the treatment of goodwill, and even we have worked on what are the different capital methods with the partnership firms usually do adopt, fixed or fluctuating method. Now, moving ahead slowly, today we are going to connect what sort of accounts are going to be prepared under the partnership annual account, and the specimen and the pro forma of it, and slowly we will proceed toward the our actual problem of practical calculations of partnership annual account. So the notes I have already shared with the Nishi sir. I hope sir have already shared with the students group. So yeah, once we will go through with our the actual aspects of the entire partnership panel account, we'll go through with the solving of the practical problems as well. So students, it's really happy to connect you again for the second day of my session. Hope yesterday the session was, you have get to the mark exactly what the partnership final account is. The technical part behind it, you have, I hope you have understood. Okay. Now, moving ahead with the second part of the partnership final account, that here we are trying to learn about the what sort of accounts with the partnership final account here we do prepare, right? We'll start with the next slide. We'll see the what sort of content which we are going to be covered today in our today's session. The very first, as I have told you, introduction. Here introduction is basically we are trying to recall what we have learned yesterday, like giving a brief idea about what we did yesterday, and slowly we will move on to the actual practical calculations. Okay. Second, we will going to study here is steps in accounting. What sort of steps are there? Next, we are also going to see the what sort of different accounts which we are supposed to prepare here, like we called it as a pro forma or a specimen of a trading account, P&L account, and the balance sheet. How the items has been posted here, that we are going to see. We are also going to be learn today's sessions the adjustments and its two effects which we are supposed to be post in the final account. The hidden adjustment which we usually see in the trial balance, that also we are going to deal today. Treatment of some important items appearing in the trial balance, and that items have to be taken care of very well, because sometimes it do happen we students leave it, and they might have been not seen that particular items or hidden part of the adjustment, and because of that they couldn't able to tally their problem. So we're going to check that as well. Then there are steps for solving the problems. Here we are going to see the steps how we I can go with all these steps, and through that I can reach to my final account, final tally amount, right? And we end the session with our practical problem. Hope you all are there with me. Let's proceed with the very first starting part of recalling what we have learned yesterday. So in the next slide, here you can see what we have already did and learned yesterday. Just a briefing of 2-3 minutes, not more than that. So yesterday we talked about what is partnership firm, partnership act. So as per the act, Partnership Act 1932, if you will see, the Partnership Act 1932 talks about the relationship between a person who have agreed to share the profit of the business carried on by all and any of them acting for all. This we have already studied yesterday. As I've told you in my yesterday's lecture, that provision of partnership, right, and the provisions are very important because these provisions are usually used when you actually come for calculation of your profits, right? Like yesterday we have deal with how the distribution of profit is being made, right? Then interest on drawing, how it is calculated. In the yesterday one practical problem we have already seen that if the drawing interest rate is given, right, but in that they have not mentioned it, okay, whether that interest on drawing is for how many months, right? So in that case, what you all are supposed to do is you have to consider it as a 6 month period, right? Why we have to take 6 months? The reason is when in the question the month have not been mentioned, the question adjustments are quite silent. In that case, what we do, we usually take the 6 month as the interest rate. Okay, so interest on partner's loan, interest on capital, salary or commissions to the partner, and the admission of a new partner. These all, things which we have covered yesterday. Students, this thing you keep it in your mind whenever you calculate the any practical problem. This entire provision you will get some more year as a working note, and you have to work accordingly. So these are the 6 points which I thought in our today's session is must to recall all these 6 points, right? Moving ahead to the next slide, which you can see here in the second slide, the actual reconstitution of firm, which we see and learned yesterday, right? So the reconstitution of firm is nothing but when the old agreement of the partnership comes to an end and the new agreement comes into existence, which we have already learned yesterday, right? But here one thing I have conveyed you yesterday also, that business will be continued, the firms will be continued, the firm will not stop. Okay, the agreement ends and the new agreement is being come into extent, but there will be no business stopped. Okay, so their business will be the same, and the name of the firm will be also the same, that the firm name will also not change, will be the same. Only, as I told you, internal partnership deed comes to an end. Okay, so next, yesterday we have already covered the reconstitution of firm. I hope and you people can answer me. Yesterday we have done with what sort of different reconstitution of firm, in what cases or in what situation or occasion where the firms goes for the reconstitution. So in the next slide you can see the firms can go for the reconstitution on the very first cases. They can go for the change of profit sharing ratio. Okay, next slide please, Riddhi. Yeah, here you can see yesterday we have already seen about the mode of reconstitution. Mode is nothing but the situation, the occasion under which we may find the partnership are going under changes in their agreement, right? So, we have covered yesterday that change in profit sharing ratio, if there is an admission of a new partner, if any of the existing partner gets retired, okay, or death occur of any of the partner, or there will be amalgamation, or we can call it as a merger of the two partnership firm, right? In such situation, in such scenario, what happens, the old agreement get end and the new usually formed, right? So that's why we called it as a reconstitution of partnership firm. This concept we have already learned in our yesterday's session. Okay, moving ahead to the next, where We are coming up towards our today's actual, practical aspect. Okay. In the next slide, we can see what exactly the partnership final account is. Okay, we have done all the theoretical and backgrounding part or calculation of ratio part methods, capital method. These all have been covered in our yesterday's session, which we have just now did a quick recapitulation of it. Moving ahead, now we have a partnership final account which we are supposed to prepare. As I have already told you, there is no major differentiation in the sole proprietor concern and the partnership final account. Where the differences are occurred when certain situations or issue which is only related to the partnership firm. Then only that to solve those issues, to solve those particular aspects, the partnership act has been generated and formed, and on that angle the further process has been taken. Okay, so the final account of a partnership firm is basically based on the income statement and position statement, where the final account is considered as the last stage of accounting procedure. Once the company or a firm reach to the last part, that is the preparation of their final account, which gives a at a glance the entire whole financial years, what are their earnings, what are the shares of a partner. These all thing has been comes to know by seeing one particular financial statement. Okay, now you can see what sort of that accounts are. So in the next slide, you can see here accounts which we are supposed to maintain is number one, the very first is preparation of journal and subsidiary book. जब हम steps in accounting बोलते हैं, when the partnership final account comes, it's the last stage, as I've just now told you, right? So when we say steps in accounting, so initially we begin with journals, subsidiary books. Slowly we'll move ahead with the preparation of ledger. Why? Because whatever the journal entries, what are the subsidiary books which we prepare, their balances are going to come under the ledger, right? Same way, when the ledger closed and the ledger have balance, so that ledger balance will be the subsidiary, that is preparation of trial balance. Okay, so whatever the ledger has been prepared, that will reach to our trial balance. So this is about last step. The last step in our final account. So in that final account phase, right, preparation of trial balance is that indicates the trial balance has been given to you. We will go for our last fourth stage. Okay, where will be having our trial balance, and through that trial balance we are supposed to prepare our partnership. We have to prepare our final account. Okay, so now after preparing the final account, what will be given in your question? There will be a possibility of giving you a very first thing, trial balance will be given, and along with the trial balance, you will be getting a few adjustments. Okay, and trial balance and adjustment, on the basis of that, we are supposed to prepare the accounts, right? Now, in final account, what sort of accounts will appear? There will be a trading account, there will be a profit and loss account, and there will be a balance sheet. These three accounts we are supposed to actually this two accounts, trading and profit and loss, and balance sheet is the same. This we are supposed to prepare in our partnership final account. Okay, but one more thing, I'll make it very clear, as we have studied in yesterday's session. Okay, there is a partner's capital account and partner's current account as well. Okay, so when partner's capital account and when partner's current account is be prepared, partner's capital account and current account is usually prepared on the basis of which method of capital the partnership firm has adopted. Okay, if the partnership firm have opted for the fixed installment method, then in that case, the major part will be considering as a partner's capital and the partner's current account. But when the partnership firm have opted a fluctuating method. So in fluctuation method, what the partnership firm is supposed to prepare is they have to prepare the current account. Okay. So these all basically given in your question itself. You will come to know in the question itself what capital method the firm has opted, and accordingly the calculation we are supposed to do. So this is what these steps, as I have told you, we begin with journal and subsidiary and we reach to the last stage, fourth step, that is nothing but our preparation of final account. Okay, moving ahead to the next, where we will going to study about the different specimens of trading account, or we can call it as a one of the pro forma. We can consider called it as a pro forma of trading account. Now, usually, whenever we say trading account, what this trading account means? What is trading account? So, usually, whenever we say a trading account, right? So, trading account is nothing but it's a nominal account. It's a nominal account, and trading account is opened in the trading organization. For what purpose? For the purpose to find out the gross profit or the gross loss incurred during the year. Okay, in the debit side of this account, all the direct expenses are recorded. Okay, and in the credit side, you may find all direct incomes of the firms are being recorded. Okay, if the trading account credit side, now when we say, if you will find if the trading account credit side is more than the debit side, then the account shows the gross profit and vice versa. Okay, the profit, the gross profit or the gross loss, whatever you will be guessed, finally it should be transferred to where it transferred to the profit and loss account. Okay, so this is what about when we say a trading account. Why the trading account is prepared, and the trading account is prepared by the traders, as yesterday Arvind Lohar sir have been conveyed you all in this session. The trading account is usually prepared by the trader to see within the business or a factory, or we can say how what amount of things has been happened, that we are going to be covered under the trading account. Okay, now what things are being covered under the trading? Let's see the items which are there in the debit side. Now, here if you will see in the trading account debit side, we can find there is an opening stock, right? Okay, whenever traders start with their business, definitely they need the stock, and how much amount which he spent on the stock has to be mentioned under the opening in the trading account, right? So that's why you can see here the opening stock is mentioned, opening stock is given, and in the opening stock, after opening stock, what sort of goods has been purchased, so that purchase is mentioned on the debit side. Sales, simultaneously we can see the sales has been mentioned on the credit side. Okay, there is a in case of there will be a return which has to be outward return, there is an similarly inward return, right? And now when we say an outward return and it inward return, kindly understand the concept very well. Okay, any sale has been happened by the trader, and that sales customers have returned back to the trader again, so that returned amount should be less from the sale. Why? Because that amount we consider it is a sale, but when the customer return back those goods, or right, so that goods has been come back to the company or a firm again. That's why you can see on the credit side there will be a sales return which is less. Okay. Next, you can see on the debit side here the carriage inward, freight, desk charges, custom duty. These all are the charges within we can say like as a trader, which he can you know spended, or the income which has been created, right? The income, you can see the import duties are there, royalties are there, then the factories rent and the factory insurance, workman salary, these all within the factory. Usually when we say, whenever the trader deal with any of the item which is within the factory, right, all the expenses has been debited and all the income has been get credited. Even in the credit side you can observe there is a good lost by fire, goods lost by theft, or might be there will be a free sample which is distributed by the trader for their selling of their product as an advertisement and all, right? Even there will be a good lost in accident, or maybe the goods withdrawn by the partners, maybe withdrawn by the partners here in the sense the partners have taken it, so it become in future it will be considered as one of the drawing, right? So these all within the factory item or within the trader which usually go for. So these all are basically going to be recorded under here, under the trading account. Now next we can see here is now very much important point which is mentioned here. Kindly note that in case of combine of wages and salary, following treatment should be given. Up now usually what happen, when the question gives wages and salary, right? So student gets confused okay, where we are supposed to post it, whether we have to supposed to post it on a debit side of a like trading account or a debit side of a P&L account. So for that this specification has been made, right? Whenever it is said the items is wages and salary is given in which wages are appearing first. Wages, if it is appear first, that shows an indication it's a part of within the factory. Right? So the trader usually think that wages is given as within the factory part of activity, so that the goods has been received in the factory. So when the wages terms were given as first, that's an indication we have to mark it and the debit side of our trading account. But when the item has been start with the salary and wages, the first term is including as salary. So then in that case, it should be posted under the which side? It should be posted under the profit and loss debit side. Why? Because we could consider it as a salary first rather than the wages outside factory item. So this wages and salary usually the student do mistakes most of the time. So take care of this. We'll move ahead with the second specimen or the second account which we can say, and the second account is profit and loss. Okay, so we'll go for the next slide, profit and loss. Yes. Yeah. So now in the next slide, profit and loss. This is the specimen of profit and loss. Now one thing, let me make it very clear. जब हम profit and loss की बात करते हैं, right? Profit and loss usually gives you an idea about how much the profit or loss the company has been or maybe the firm has been earned, right? So here profit and loss, when we say profit and loss is the type of nominal account. First, this thing make it very clear. Profit and loss is a type of a nominal account, and profit and loss is main account of an income statement. Okay, it's a very much important it's very much important, or we can say the main account of an income statement, right? It is prepared actually to ascertain the net profit, okay, to calculate the net profit or a net loss suffered by the business. Whenever we find the trader is running the business, so from the why it is actually prepared, it is prepared to ascertain the net profit or occurring a net loss suffered by a businessman in the business. Okay, but usually during the accounting year only. We can't extend the accounting year. It is for the during the accounting year period only. All direct expenses are to be recorded to the debit side of the balance sheet. Okay, जो भी expenses होंगे, सारे के सारे expenses कहाँ record होगा? On the debit side of the balance sheet. Whereas all the direct income, आपने जितने भी indirect incomes इसमें होंगे, सारे के सारे हम कहाँ record करेंगे? We are going to record under the credit side of the this account. Okay, so the credit balance on this account shows as net profit, where is the transfer to the capital account credit side, and should be transferred where? To the credit side of the capital account, right? And same way the debit balance of the account will show as net loss, right? So which is to be transferred to the capital account on the debit side of, and it should be deducted from the partner's capital. It should be deducted from the partner's capital account, right? Now this pro forma which you can see in the slide, it is nothing but your profit and loss. Okay, profit and loss pro forma. अब ये pro forma आपको mention क्या कर रहा है? You can able to see in this pro forma, the debit side we have taken all the expenses, right? I'll read out those expenses. It is salary and wages, rent and rates, insurance, electricity, lighting, telephones, printing and stationaries, right? Any of the traveling expenses, a repair, entertainment expense, any loss or fire which has been occurred, loss in accident, or maybe goods distributed as a free sample. These all usually all those expenses which is outside the factory, like outside the factory in the sense the things which is actual comes on a part of a calculations on the off record books, right? Here the advertisement, carriage outward, sales charges, whatever the expenses which you can see here, right? So all those expenses are being recorded on the debit side of your P&L account, right? So as I told you earlier prior, when we go with this understanding of the partnership final account, the profit and loss is one type of a nominal account, as I have told you just now, right? And whatever the profit and loss account is actually considered, it considers all the indirect expenses and all the indirect incomes. So here in profit and loss, we are basically recording the indirect expenses and the indirect incomes, okay, on the debit and the credit side. Now we will move ahead with the next account, or we can say the statement, right? So the next is nothing but, after profit and loss, we'll go for a balance sheet. So in the next slide you can see this is the balance sheet. Now usually students kindly understand this, when we say a balance sheet is a statement actually which showing a financial position of the firm of a particular day. Okay, so it shows the financial position of a particular firm. Okay, all liabilities are recorded to its left side. आप देख सकते हो liabilities जितनी भी होगी सारी की सारी liabilities कहाँ record की गई है, on the left hand side, as well as assets are recorded on the right hand side. सारे assets कहाँ पर record करके रखे हैं, right hand sides में. Okay, the balance sheet is not an account. As I have told you earlier, trading and P&L is an account, but balance sheet is a statement. It is not an account. Okay, so when we say a balance sheet, it is a statement. Okay, financial position of a firm as on given date in the form of assets and liabilities. Here we have to see the financial year ends. Whenever the firms have been mentioned, you the financial year ends at 31st December or 31st March, depend upon the question, but usually the financial year ends at 31st March of the end year of any of the year. Okay, now let's see the pro forma which is given here. Just now we have said here on the left hand side you are seeing all the liabilities, the liability of a partners which they are supposed to be pay, and the right hand side will be the all the assets which the partners are having in their partnership firm. Okay, so left side अगर हम देखा जाए तो we were having the first of all the capital which the partners to bring. Okay, and then the reserves which the firm is already having, then the profit and loss. Okay, then the loans on mortgages, bank loan from the partners, and if in case of any bills payable is there, that will be one of it. Then bank overdraft, sundry creditors payment, so that is also one become the liability, the partners have to repay it. Okay, then next is the discount on creditors, or maybe the outstanding expenses if it is, or any other income which is received in advance. See, one thing you understand very well, any income received in advance, in future it is supposed to get paid by the partners. So we can't say कि any income which is receiving now will be my asset. Definitely it becomes your liability, because not now, then in future definitely you have to pay it. Okay, you have to pay. So that's why we called it as a one of your liability. Okay, provision for tax, the tax which is going to be occurred in future, or maybe at the end of the financial year, right? So for that, usually you may find the firms what they do, they keep certain provision, they keep it ready as a provision. Why? So that why they keep as a provision, because when the actual you may find the tax is supposed to pay, so the at that time the company or maybe the firm will be having their provision related to the that specific payment, that is taxation. So provision for tax is also one of the liability which we usually see. Okay, moving ahead to another asset side अगर आप देखा जाए, so all the firm's assets, fixed assets, current assets, okay, any miscellaneous assets, fictitious assets if it is, right, these all will be recorded under the balance sheet. Okay, next we can see here is okay, in the next slide, which is where you can see the adjustments. Okay, now when you will say the adjustment, there are different adjustments in the uh, final account when we will work on. Very first important is the closing stock. It's play very important role, right? So the closing stock, whenever it is given, the first effect will be represent under the balance sheet asset side, and the second effect will be goes to the trading account credit side. Okay, वही जगह अगर आपने outstanding expenses बोला, तो this will be added to that respective expenses on the debit side, and the second effect will be given to the liability. Now, how these two effects will be there, you will understand here. Definitely there will be one positive effects and one will be the negative effects. Why? अगर कोई भी expenses आपको दिया है, तो one thing keep in mind कि whenever any expenses are given, so definitely one will be the giver and one will be the payer. Okay, so that's why the effects are mentioning on the two format, like either it will be an addition or a subtraction. So the आप यहाँ पे in the adjustments you can able to see the effects are mentioned on that angle only, and all the this adjustments are based on the assets and liabilities only. जैसे prepaid expense हो गया, prepaid means हमने advance में भर दिया, so definitely one will be what we have to do. One we are supposed to prepaid है, so one will be one effect will be you add to that respective item, and the second is prepaid है यानी कि advanced है, पहले ही भरा है, यानी कि it will become your one of the asset side. वही जगह outstanding है यानी कि balance, आज नहीं कल पे करना है हमको, तो इट बिकम योर लाइबिलिटी, राइट. और जो पे ऑलरेडी, जैसे मान लो सैलरी पे कुछ अमाउंट आउटस्टैंडिंग, ठीक है, तो सैलरी हमारा क्या है, इनडायरेक्ट एक्सपेंस. कहाँ पर आप लिखोगे, यू विल राइट इट ऑन द पीएनएल डेबिट साइड. अब वही एक्सपेंसेस में कुछ और अमाउंट ऑफ सैलरी स्टिल पेंडिंग, आई एम टॉकिंग अबाउट स्टिल आउटस्टैंडिंग, so that will be definitely added. तो इसीलिए आप देखोगे यहाँ जब भी आप टू इफेक्ट्स मेंशन करते हो, तो एक तो वो इफेक्ट वो पर्टिकुलर रेस्पेक्टिव आइटम्स के ऊपर ही हो जाता है. जैसे अगर इन केस व्हेन वी से अ डेप्रिसिएशन, मान लो डेप्री ले लो, तो डेप्रिसिएशन रेस्पेक्टिव आइटम है, दैट डेप्री, दैट मशीनरी or furniture, whatever may be the asset it is, right? So one effect will be definitely going to be connect to that particular the item which will appear in the assets or our liability side, or maybe an income and expenditure side. And the second effect of it will be belongs to, so connected with that area. जैसे for example अभी हमने लिया था machinery, right? Machinery पे depreciation होगा, so machinery is my asset where you will record on the balance sheet asset side. Okay, and debris is a wearing tearing of the that particular usability of the asset, right, which definitely go on making the assets reduced, its value reduced. So debris is supposed to be less from where that respective asset. अब ये इनडायरेक्ट एक्सपेंस जनरेट हो गया ना हमारा, दिस इज वन ऑफ द एक्सपेंसेस विच इज नॉट डायरेक्टली कम्स इनटू, इट इज एन इनडायरेक्ट एक्सपेंस. तो जितने भी डायरेक्ट एक्सपेंसेस और इनकम होंगे हम कहाँ लिखते हैं, ट्रेडिंग में, और जितने इनडायरेक्ट इनकम और एक्सपेंसेस होंगे वो सारे के सारे कहाँ लिखते हैं हम, पीएनएल में, प्रॉफिट एंड लॉस, राइट. So likewise you may find all the adjustment which is mentioned here, and even in the next slide you can see, और भी नेक्स्ट स्लाइड्स में भी आप देखोगे ये सारे एडजस्टमेंट्स. ओके, the next slide adjustments which is nothing but the unrecorded sales or maybe unrecorded purchase there. Just now we have said in case the goods has been returned by the particular customer to a trader, वापस return दे दिया, now that is the goods which is unrecorded na? And that unrecorded goods or unrecorded sales are supposed to add or less to that respective item, like purchase होगा तो purchase में, या sales होगा तो sales में, you have to make addition or deduction. As it is unrecorded, deduction तो usually possible नहीं है, it is unrecorded, so definitely you have to record now. Okay, so in that case you may find there will be a possibility of such kind of adjustments which will be appear in the adjustment in the problem solving. When you will solve the actual problem, there you will find a trial balance, and along with the trial balance these all adjustments will be marked. And now at a glance you couldn't able to identify it. When we will go with one or one another problem, you will come to know, oh, this is my indirect expense, this is my direct expense. You can easily able to identify it, and then accordingly you can able to post in the two effects. Okay, next we can go ahead with the next thing, that is nothing but in the next slide you can see the other hidden adjustment in the trial balance. Sometimes what happens, you can't understand okay, there is an adjustment which is already given in the trial balance. Okay, and while solving the practical problem, or while tally the final account, you may find difficulty if you can't look out to those hidden adjustments. ठीक है, जैसे फॉर एग्जाम्पल आई टेल यू, यहाँ पे आपको पूरा हिडन एडजस्टमेंट्स की लिस्ट मैंने दे रखी है. नाउ इट्स बिकम वेरी डिफिकल्ट टू मग अप ऑल दिस adjustments. So better I'll guide you, like rather than mugging up all this kind of adjustments, better to understand by solving maximum problems. जितने आप मल्टीपल प्रॉब्लम्स को प्रैक्टिस करोगे, how many problems you will go through. So every practical problem will give some more other hidden adjustment, some more other calculation, or new adjustments, or new items through how you can able to give the two different postings that you can get it. Okay, but there are few hidden adjustments. I'll just read out for you all, so you will come to know while we are solving the problems. This will help us at that time. Say for example, as I've told you salary है, आपने salary और rent paid किया है. Okay, but that salary or rent is paid and it is mentioned in the trial balance, as a 10 month. That means somewhere 2 month का salary या rent क्या है, outstanding. Now it's a hidden adjustment, it is not mentioned anywhere in the adjustment, but it is already mentioned in the trial balance. Now it is us to how to identify it, how to identify and how to mark those adjustments. Okay, so very first important, as it is mentioned it is for only 10 months, that indicates what? Okay, I have to give the effects for the outstanding portion, and my outstanding portion is nothing but the 2 months. Okay, so that outstanding become my indirect expenses, and where we will do, we are supposed to post it under the profit and loss account and the liability. Why it become liability is one of the payment. Outstanding है, salary pay करना है, rent pay करना है, किसको? firm को, right? So that's why it will be marked on the liability. Okay, same way एक दूसरा adjustment भी यहाँ पे mention किया है. I'll go for the second adjustment of here, insurance premium paid. Now sometimes this is also might have been given कि insurance premium paid किया है for one of the year, prepaid है, okay, or postpaid. Usually prepaid they do give, or accounting year आपको mention किया रहता है, 1 year ending में है. So that also maybe one of the possibility of coming in the problem as an hidden adjustment. Advertisement expenses for 4 years. Suppose this adjustment is given, advertisement expenses, and in a bracket they have mentioned for 4 years. That means those expenses not for a single year, so you have to multiply it by 4 years. Then you will come to know, oh, these are the 4 years expenses which we are supposed to take in our current finance. Okay, then next is rent received. Just now as I said, if it is rent received in all 11 months, 10 months, this has been mentioned in your trial balance, and from that you have to identify, and find out, yes, there are certain prepaid is there are certain outstanding is there, and you have to give the adjustment accordingly. There may be a possibility of a loan. Sometimes what happen, they give loan. Okay, loan, and they have mentioned कि loan पे क्या है, 10% का loan on borrowed. Okay, at the end of the 31st March, whatever maybe the year they mentioned you. So in that case, the interest receivable on investment for 3 months on the credit basis are should be posted on the credit side of your profit and loss. फिर वो कहाँ पोस्ट हो जाएगा, क्योंकि वो रिसीव्ड है अमाउंट और उसके ऊपर इंटरेस्ट हमको कैलकुलेट करना पड़ेगा. So it become your interest on loan, which will be posted on the credit side of your profit and loss. Okay, but where our second effect will come, the amount of interest receivable on investment on the asset side of your balance sheet. Why? Because that interest is being received on what? On certain investment, whatever may be the investment, but on that certain investment. So that's why that 10% of interest we are supposed to calculate on the investment which is being given. So these are the few hidden adjustments which we have talked about just now. Moving ahead to the next slide, you can see here. In the next slide, we have mentioned the treatment of some important items. Okay, now there are certain items which we have to give while seeing in the trial balance. It appears in a very different way, right? Just say for example, an outstanding expenses. Sometimes it happens that trial balance doesn't give you whether it's a debit balance or a credit balance. It's on the student to identify whether it's a debit balance or a credit balance. जैसे for example outstanding expense, that means the liability side of a balance sheet. आउटस्टैंडिंग है तो बच्चे डायरेक्टली उनको पीएनएल अकाउंट में डाल देते हैं, बट इट इज वन ऑफ द लाइबिलिटी. व्हाई? बिकॉज इट इज गिवन दी ट्रायल बैलेंस, इट इज नॉट गिवन ऑन दी एडजस्टमेंट. मान लो यही एडजस्टमेंट को ऑपोजिट वे में लो, एडजस्टमेंट में दिया रहता है इंस्टेड ऑफ ट्रायल, देन व्हाट यू विल डू? If it is given in the adjustment, then definitely it will be appear in the profit and loss as one of the effect, and the balance sheet liability side as the second. Okay, but here it is given only once. So as we all know, trial balance have only one effect. It doesn't have two effects. It have only one effect. Any prepaid expenses are given, we have to post it directly on the asset side of your balance sheet. Any outstanding income, asset side of the balance sheet, right? These particular adjustments we have to treat it very differently. That's why I have mentioned here the treatment of some important items which will appear in the trial balance, and we have to identify it very well. जैसे for example यहाँ पे ही अपने sheet में you can see in the table it is mentioned income received in advance. अब बच्चे डायरेक्ट इनकम रिसीव्ड देखते हैं क्रेडिट में डालते हैं, बट लेकिन इनकम लिया है, बट कैसा? इनकम हैज रिसीव्ड इन एडवांस, यानी कि ये बन गया फर्म को एक वन ऑफ द लायबिलिटी. Okay, and the firm is supposed to pay those liabilities, so it will be appearing on the liability side of the balance sheet rather posting it as a anywhere as an income or an asset. Okay, next you can even all see the depreciation. Of course you are aware of it, will be depreciation as an indirect expenses which should be recorded on the debit side of your profit and loss account. Any loss on sale of asset में से बेचते वक्त हमको कुछ loss हो गया, there is a loss. Okay, that loss will be definitely recorded under the debit side of your profit and loss account. Goods withdrawn by partner, one of the we can say drawing, but goods withdraw kiya hai. Okay, so it will definitely not even appearing in the partner capital. It will be appearing. It will not appear in the profit and loss. It directly goes to the partner's capital or a current account, you can say. Okay, general reserves hoga या any reserve funds hoga, purely it's a liability item. You can see we have to post on the liability side of your balance sheet. Deposits from public, any deposit, public deposit which is being there, right? So that all public deposits and all is a part of your liability side of your balance sheet. Good distributed as free sample, काफी बार आप देखोगे trader have distributed the goods on the as a free sample. Why they distributed? So that they make the advertisement of their product. Okay, so usually you may find this particular item are definitely there in our problems whenever we do solve. He good distributed as a free sample. So definitely it's a part of your profit and loss debit side. Okay, same way you can see there will be a suspense account. Okay, if it is on a debit side, then show the figure on the asset side. If you find the credit side, then the same figure will be shown as the liability side. Now suspense account create kab hota hai? When you find the trial balance are not tallying, there is certain item which is miss out, or maybe the difference doesn't match. So what we will do, we used to see if the difference doesn't match, so where these differences are located in the trial balance, right? If the difference is located on the debit side of your trial balance, then it becomes then that differences amount when you will get it will be posted on the asset side of your balance sheet. Okay, same way if you find the trial balance have the difference and the difference is to be recorded on the credit side, the credit side में आपको differences मिल रहा है, then in that case that differences are supposed to be posted under the liability side of your balance sheet. Fine. Now the last item of this particular table which you can see, bank for collection of bills. Okay, this is many time it happened bank collections or bill collection is given in your question, and it really get confused for a student where to post such item. Okay, so just make sure any bank collection for bill will be a part of your asset side of your balance sheet. Okay, moving ahead to the next. Okay, next slide where we are going to see here, after the treatment of some important item, there are certain things which we are supposed to be covered. Just say for example here you have to see the steps. Okay, Riddhi, can you make the next slide please? Okay, so here we are now slowly moving ahead to start with our practical steps for solving the problem. आप problem solve करते हुए what steps you have to be take care. Very first thing, prepare the necessary account including working note. तो भी आपको partner capital, partner current account बनाना होगा, working notes बनाने होंगे, that you have to work on. Okay. Then the second steps which you can see, place some mark on your trial balance item for external as well as internal adjustment. Okay. कुछ अगर internal hidden adjustments है तो you just mark certain initial, and some internal external adjustments होंगे, that also you do mark. Just now we discussed about there could be a possibility of hidden adjustment that becomes your internal adjustment. Okay. External adjustment which will be appear in the after trial balance in the question as an adjustment, that becomes your external. So try to identify both the adjustment, internal as well as external, and give some initial or a mark. So why we are marking those initials? So that it helps you while solving the practice. Okay. Go through with the trial balance item and give only one accounting effects. Very important. Just now I said हम ट्रायल बैलेंस का सिर्फ और सिर्फ एक ही इफेक्ट पोस्टिंग करते हैं, राइट? So we have to go through with your trial balance and check, and after go through with trial item, give the one effect of each items of the trial balance. Okay. Now next is we have to go through with the adjustment and give the two effects. Okay. After the earlier slide. Uh, After that, when we will go through, we have to close the ledger. Working note will be there. Only the capital account will not close. Rest all ledgers you can close and come to the capital account. Whatever the capital account balance, if you will find, that will be definitely going to become under the balance sheet. Okay. Find gross profit, net profit, and transfer it to the individual capital account. Okay. Very important. हम क्या करते हैं? Capital account close नहीं कर रहे हैं, हम ledger close कर रहे हैं. Okay. Then we are closing our profit and trading account, profit and loss account, and the net profit which you will get will be transferred to my capital. उससे पहले मेरा कैपिटल क्लोज नहीं होगा, ठीक है? पहले मुझे ट्रेडिंग अकाउंट क्लोज करना पड़ेगा, पीएनएल अकाउंट क्लोज करने पड़ेंगे, एंड देन whatever the net profit balance which I am getting, that net profit balance will be going under the capital account. And finally your capital account will close, and whatever the capital balance you will get from the capital account are supposed to bring it under the balance sheet liability side. Okay. And once all the accounts get closed and only balance sheet left, where you have already bring the capital details, now the terms come where you have to close your balance sheet and tally your balance sheet. Okay. With that only you are supposed to go and tally your balance sheet. Fine. So these are the steps which I have given while solving the problem. Now we can move ahead with practical problems. The practical problems I have already shared with you all in the Word doc. While solving the problem, you can also go through with it. I have already shared with you the questions which we are going to cover today. Riddhi, can you share the Word doc of my practical problems? Riddhi, bit enlarged it. Just enlarged it. Fine, fine, fine. That's good. Okay, that's good. Thank you. Now students, you can see here the illustration number 1 is given. Okay. So in the illustration number 1, okay, you can see the trial is already given to you all. Okay. So in the trial, the forms of trial is given, where we have a trial balance with us and we have a two partners. Okay. Partner Ajit and Suchit. I'm reading the question. Kindly we go through with the question very well, and then accordingly we will start with solving. Okay. Now we all know that for preparing a final account, we have to prepare the trading P&L, okay, and the balance sheet, and wherever there is possible, the working note and the necessary ledger account, like partners capital or partners current account and all. Okay. So let's see here. In the very first question of today's session, it is mentioned that from the following trial balance of Ajit and Sujit, you are required to prepare a trading and profit and loss account for the year ended 31st December and the balance sheet on that date. That means we are supposed to prepare trading P&L and balance sheet, and wherever it is required, we can go for partner current account or a capital, depend upon the adjustment. Okay. So let's see trial balance. In the trial balance, it is mentioned we have a debit items, we have a credit items. Okay. Now in the debit and credit items, Riddhi, can you shift it slow up? Okay. So in the trial balance, partners capital is given, drawing is given. Okay. Along with drawing, stocks, bill receivable, purchase and sale, return. These all are have been mentioned. Then next is on the library, on the credit side also you can see purchase, sale. Same way returns has been mentioned on debit also, and even credit side also. So this is also one of the item which we have to take care of. Okay. Then next is here carriage, wages, insurance, discount received, postage, debtors and creditor, furniture, cash in hand, machinery, rent and taxes. These all our assets, liability, direct expense, indirect income is given to you. Now, as I've told you these steps, what we are supposed to do is we have to mark the item. So, students, let us start marking the item by seeing where exactly this particular trial balance item will post. Okay. Riddhi, can you shift the trial balance bit up? Yeah. Okay. Okay. Now, fine. Fine. Thank you so much. Yes. Now here you can see the capital. It is mentioned. So capital, where we are supposed to post the capital. Capital usually goes on the liability side of the balance sheet. Okay. But here what we will do, we are preparing a partner capital account, right? So this two, Ajit and Sujit balance will be appear in their capital account. Drawing is given. Drawing usually a part of your partner's capital, so it will be appear on the debit side of our partner's capital account. Okay. Next is stock. Stock कौन सा stock है? Opening है. ओपनिंग स्टॉक मीन्स माई डायरेक्ट एक्सपेंस. ठीक है. डायरेक्ट एक्सपेंस कहाँ हम रिकॉर्ड करते हैं? ऑन दी ट्रेडिंग अकाउंट डेबिट साइड. ओके. बिल रिसीवेबल. बिल रिसीवेबल इज अवर एसेट. विल रिकॉर्ड ऑन दी बैलेंस शीट एसेट साइड. Purchase and sale. Purchase is direct expense, and again sales is a direct expense. But purchase is a direct expense and sale is our direct income. Okay. So both will be go under the trading. Okay. So very important is you have to understand whether it is a direct expense or a direct income, indirect expense or indirect income. This we have to find out, right? आप यहाँ पे चाहो तो शॉर्ट फॉर्म्स भी यूज कर सकते हो, जहाँ पे आप देखते हो many of used to give the initial, like I could also take in my class, I mention as TD PD, like, or maybe TC and PC. Okay. T will giving an indication of it's my trading debit, so I used to write TD. Okay. Same way in the credit side, if any items you will post, you can mark as TC. Okay. PNL debit hoga, you can write as a PD, and PNL credit hoga, you can make it as PC. Okay. So this is one of the thing where you have to take care of. Then purchase and sales are there. So again, it's a direct expense and income. As I've told you, one will be go as a TD and one will be as a TC. Okay. I'll tell you, student, if you use the initial now, it become very easy to solve the or identify the item in the track. Okay. Returns. Now return again, it's my direct item, direct income and direct expense. So one debit item of my return will be go as a TD and credit as a TC. Okay. But here returns will be have some different variation. यहाँ बच्चे कंफ्यूज होते हैं काफी बार. रिटर्न्स में जो गुड्स या रिटर्न्स आए, इट विल बी हैविंग अ ऑपोजिट posting. Okay. So that you have to be take care of very well. Salary, direct expense है, PD. Carriages, it's a part of carriage is a direct expense. Okay. So it will be posted under the trading debit. So you can call it as TD. Wages are there. Again, it's a part of your direct. So trading debit, it's a TD. Insurance. Insurance, many time it depends, okay, whether it is connected to your, uh, uh, directly or not. Sometime it may happen, you insurance can be posted as PNL also, and sometime you may find it will be mentioned as a yeah, this also trading. But here we could make consider insurance our trading item, debit item, there or a PNL item, right? Next we can go for here is discount received. Discount received, again it's a income, but which income? It's an indirect income, so will be posted under the PC. PC, as I've told you, the initial PC is nothing but our PNL credit. Okay. Postage, debit item है. So it will be go as a P&L debit. Then the direct debtors and creditors is your income and sorry, assets and liabilities. Furniture is your asset. Cash in hand, of course, cash it's an asset. Then machinery is given. Machinery again it's your asset. Rent and taxes. It's again we can call the rent and taxes nothing but it's an indirect na? Indirect expenses हो गया वो हमारा जाएगा P&L debit में called as PD. Okay. Then printing and stationery again it's a part of your PD. Okay. Let's see the adjustment. हमने पूरा trial balance देख चुके. Let's see the adjustment. Now adjustment first is closing stock. Closing stock means the stock which is being in the hand of a trader at the end of the financial year. So closing stock is the again just now I have told you there is an internal adjustment and external. So this is one of these all list are your external adjustments. Okay. Now what we will do simultaneously we will mark their two effects. Closing stocks will be having a two effects. One will be go as your balance sheet and one will be marked under your trading credit side. Okay. Why? Because as I've told you, the closing stock means the trading direct expenses. Direct expenses is the closing part hoga, and where the trading is account will be get closed and out of which you will get the gross profit. Okay. So there we are supposed to see what will be my end stock. So definitely one effect goes to the end stock है तो trading में credit होगा and balance sheet में why it is appearing because I have to see my stock valuation at the end of the financial year which will be appear in your balance sheet side. Okay. Next is the outstanding expenses of wages and salary. Just now I said anything which is outstanding. Okay, where the firm are supposed to pay them, it is outstanding, right? So outstanding amount will be very first thing that respective items, whatever may be, whether direct or indirect, we have to first give the we have to add there. Why we have to add? Because these are the amount which is outstanding. We have to add up, then only we can give the full amount to the respective uh, payment can be made. Okay. So one effect will be goes there. अब ये देना है ना, firm is supposed to give the money, right? So it become a liability in the head of the partners or a firm. So we called it as a liability as one of the effects. Okay. Then goods of rupees 4,000 was distributed as fee sample. Just now I have told you in the earlier discussion when we were solving, going through with it, the goods which was undistributed or maybe distributed as a free sample, right? So these adjustment you usually get in the trading final account. Why? Because the trader usually what they do, they give their advertisement of their product in the form of this, right? Okay. So anything which has been given as a free sample and all, right? So their effects you can see as a we can call it as a loss on because that is freely it is given. So one effect will be marked under the credit side of your trading because direct में से उतना goods जा रहा है, right? So it will be marked under the credit side of your trading and the second effect will be given on the uh, you can see in the P&L profit and loss उतना कम हो रहा है अपने goods में, so you will find loss हो रहा है like that. Then the next is the interest on partners capital to be provided at 7% per annum, and interest on capital usually gives the effect very first to that partner's capital, respective capital account. There you are supposed to write interest on partners, and the second will be you have to post on the liability side of your balance sheet. Okay. Prepaid is given. Prepaid is nothing but advance में दिया. अभी मैंने आपको बताया था. Anything which is being paid in advance, we consider usually as दे दिया है ना, right? We have already taken it more. So now that prepaid insurance, now we have to deduct it. It is not additional burden on us. Now we have to reduce it. It become one of your asset as well. क्योंकि आपने इंश्योरेंस को मान लो जैसे 2 month का प्रीमियम आपने पहले ही पे कर दिया, तो इट इज ऑलरेडी एडवांस, इट्स वन ऑफ योर एसेट्स पार्ट, राइट? So depreciation was to be provided on furniture and machinery. Depreciation आपको पता है furniture और machinery पे हमको depre लेना है, right? So depreciation as you all know the use how much the machines or maybe the assets has been used or utilized, right? So that much proportion of the assets life is being reduced. So that is nothing but we called as a depreciation. So that amount we are supposed to less. Okay. So from where you will write, because depre is one of the indirect expenses. Okay. So respective assets through you have to deduct and you can write under the profit and loss debit side. Why? Because it's an indirect expenses. Okay. Next is reserve for doubtful debt was to be created at 5% of sundry debtor. Now, doubtful debt, यानी कि there are debtors to whom we will say they're debtors from where we are supposed to get the money, right? Okay, so now जिनसे हमको पैसे मिले, तो it become my asset. पैसे आए, right? It become my asset. बट द थिंग इज उसमें से हो सकता है कुछ डेटर्स में कुछ परसेंटेज ऑफ अमाउंट हैज बीन नॉट रिसीव्ड और मे बी इज डिफिकल्ट टू रिसीव, राइट? सो इन दैट केस you may find what happened, it's difficult to receive, right? So in that case you may find, okay, there will be a possibility of what we can say, there is a possibility of returning because debtors debtors have not been get that amount, or maybe we have not received that amount, so that much amount from the debtor is difficult to recover, so it becomes your bad debt, doubtful, it is not able to receive, so that we have to give the effect again. RDD is become your indirect expenses, you have to less from where from your respective asset as sundry debtor, and the second effect will be go as a profit and loss debit side because it becomes your indirect. Okay, now this is all about your question which we have read, adjustments हमने सारे देख लिए. Let's start posting. Now we will go ahead with the posting and preparing the account. So आप देख सकते हो यहाँ पे मैंने trading, P&L और balance sheet और partners का, ठीक है? Trading items पहले हम ले लेते हैं. And now we couldn't able to go through this, almost all the trading items I have marked here, and adjustment what I did, I have marked with the red color so you can easily able to see. So trading account for the year ended, if you will see, so tradings have debit side, opening stock. So whenever we see our account, we start our trading account with the direct expense, right? So firm के पास, in the firm stocks, firms ने कितने start. So firm is having a opening stock of how much, 88,000 already given in the trial balance that we have bring it here. Then the firm has purchased of 3,80,000. Okay, and if you will see, there was a return, and I have already mentioned returns will be based on uh, uh, the debit and credit balance which was given. One will be the return inward and one will be the return outward. So here we have a return outward which is 4,000, and the total it is 3,76,000 which is mentioned. Wages, if you will see, so again wages is one of your indirect expenses, sorry, direct expenses, which was given in your trial balance, which is 48,000. But here red color you can see outstanding wages is mentioned. So this outstanding wages is given in your adjustment actually, and from there we have posted. As I have told you, outstanding wages is one of your indirect expense. So what you sorry, one of your expenses, direct expense, which you are supposed to add up to that respective item. So because any outstanding things which is with that particular respective item we are supposed to add. This is one effect. Okay. Second, अब इतना 4,000 ये जो एडिशन है वो भी देना ही है ना फर्म को, so that's why it become its liability. तो हम जब बैलेंस शीट आगे देखेंगे तो वहां पे हम ये आउटस्टैंडिंग वेजेस एक पोस्टिंग ऑन द लाइबिलिटी साइड देख सकते हैं, ठीक है? सेल्स में अगर हम देखते हैं तो वी हैव सेल्स ऑफ 6,04,000 and simultaneously there is a return. Return is nothing but, as I have told you in the earlier case, if the goods certain goods is returned by the customer, right? So that goods which is returned are supposed to be less from the sale. I can't say my 12,000 which is mentioned here as a return is my sale, because उतना मेरा सेल क्या हो गया, कम हो गया है, ठीक है? So what we do, हमने उसमें से वो सेल्स वैल्यू निकाल, रिटर्न वैल्यू निकाल दी सेल्स. Okay, now you can see the next entry is the goods given as a free sample. This you can see goods given as a free sample was one of our adjustment. Now goods दिया है free sample से, तो उतना भी goods अभी क्या हो गया, it is a part of your direct expense, right? Sorry, direct, where you will find the goods is given as a free sample will be definitely mentioned under the credit side. And closing stock is also one of your adjustment actually. When we close our trading usually close with the जितना मेरा stock था opening when I started my business, and at the end of my financial year what is my overall stock which is balanced with me. So that is what we can say the closing stock. Again, this closing stock, when we will go in the balance sheet, you will find on the asset side we are posting this closing stock there also. Why? Because the two effect. At the end, balance sheet also we will come to know okay, how much the stock is left in the balance sheet statement. Okay. Next, the total of your trading, you can see, you can make the total, and from the total, just check the student whether you are getting this answer of 1,92. 1,92, whatever the difference you will be getting on the debit side is nothing but your gross profit, and the total of your trading account is 7,08,000. Okay. Moving ahead to the profit and loss account, because this gross profit we have to bring it under the PN. Okay. Now here you can see in the profit and loss account सारे indirect expense जो भी हमने अभी ट्रायल बैलेंस में देखे थे, राइट, और जो भी एक्सटर्नल एडजस्टमेंट्स हमने एडजस्टमेंट में पढ़े थे वो सारी पोस्टिंग हमने यहाँ कर रखी है इन दी पीएनएल. ओके. जैसे फॉर यू कैन सी द लीस्ट सैलरी, इट्स 20,000. आउटस्टैंडिंग सैलरी एडजस्टमेंट में किया था. ओके. So that outstanding salary we are supposed to give one effect here. Then insurance was given, and the insurance pay, there is an adjustment we call as prepaid. Okay, so prepaid है तो वो चीजें उतनी कम करनी पड़ेगी, right? क्योंकि हमने पहले ही भरी, तो it will be deducted. आउटस्टैंडिंग होगा तो हमको ऐड करना पड़ेगा. प्रीपेड है, इन्हें हमने एडिशनल भर चुके हैं, तो देन इन दैट केस वी हैव टू लेस इट. Okay. But both are our adjustment. That's why you can see it is in the red mark. I have marked here. Postage is an indirect expense. It comes as a P&L debit. Rent and tax, printing stationery, carriage outward is always there in the trial balance. From there we have bring those items in the profit and loss. Free sample given. It was one of your adjustment. हमने एक इफेक्ट ऊपर दिया था in the trading credit side. Same way अभी इसका second effect हमने कहाँ mention किया in the profit and loss debit side. Okay. So I have marked in red color so you can able to identify those adjustment very well. Reserve for doubtful debt. If you remember, there was a reserve for doubtful debt which they have mentioned. So that reserve for doubtful debt will also mention here. अगर ये एडजस्टमेंट में दिया होगा तो डेफिनेटली ये रिजर्व फॉर डाउटफुल डेट का जो वैल्यू है वो हम क्या करेंगे, हमारे डेटर में से भी लेस होगा. Okay, so you can see this 7,040 rupees, this posting you will get in our data side also by giving the two effects. Okay. Depreciation adjustment है. Depreciation respective machinery or furniture, respective assets पे what we are supposed to do, we have to give the entry. Okay. Now next you can see here is after this on the credit side. Credit side there is a gross profit. Now this gross profit has been derived from where? From your trading. Okay, so the trading account, when you close your trading, you got the gross profit, and that gross profit balance, trading account balance is gross profit, which we have bring in the profit and loss account. And there was one trial balance item which was mentioned in your trial as a discount received. So discount received is purely called as your indirect income, and any indirect income if it is, it should be posted on the credit side of your profit and loss. And now when you will close your profit and loss account, there will be a difference of 1,36,100. Okay. Kindly check student if you are getting these differences, because this is your net profit, and the tally amount of your profit and loss or total amount of your profit and loss we called as 1,92,400. Okay. Now if you remember, I have told you earlier only, ledger close, your trading P&L account get closed, but capital account will not going to be get closed fast, earlier than the or trading or P&L. Why? Because जब आप trading close करोगे तब आपको gross profit मिलेगा. That gross profit will bring it into your P&L account, and in the P&L account you will close your P&L account and you will get the net profit. Now this net profit हमको क्या करना होगा, हमको हमारे net capital partners capital और partners current में ले जाना पड़ेगा. ठीक है. So let's see the next account after profit and loss. The next account which we can see here after profit and loss is the partners capital account. Okay. So Riddhi, can you shift the ahead? We will move with the next one, that is partners current account. So here in the next part you can see the partners capital or current account. Why? Because there usually what we did, हमने क्या किया था, when we read the our trial balance, I have shown you there we were having a capital balance. हमने क्या किया, कैपिटल बैलेंस को पार्टनर कैपिटल अकाउंट में नहीं लाया है, हमने कैपिटल बैलेंस को डायरेक्ट बैलेंस शीट में ले गए. बट व्हाट वी डिड, whatever the net profit which you will be getting from your profit and loss account, that net profit we have bring on the credit side. You can see here 1,36,100, this value from where we generated, this value we got it from our profit and loss balance. Profit and loss balance is nothing but your net profit. Okay. And there was an interest on which was how much, 7%. There was a 7% interest which we are supposed to calculate on the capital. On that we have calculated here, and where you can see Ajit was 8,400 and the Sujit was 5,600. Now at the end, whatever the net profit which you were having, वो net profit को हमने क्या किया, उनकी equal ratios में बांट दिया है. Okay. And now the same thing which you can see in the balance sheet. Okay. Riddhi, can we move ahead with the balance sheet? Okay. Now in the balance sheet you can see, which is the last statement of our entire final account. But here you can see here capital account जो हमको ट्रायल बैलेंस में दिया था, हमने एज इट इज ले लिया है. ओके. Interest which we have calculated 7% on our capital, that also we have bring it here. Net profit which we have shared in the partners capital account on an equal proportion, that also we have bring here. And the drawing was given in your trial balance with Ajit and Suji. So that drawing balance we have bring it here. What I have did here is liability side में capital account of Ajit separate कर दिया, capital account of Sujit separate कर दिया, right? Where interest, net profit, these all are the income, and drawing is the expense, it is withdrawal, right? So that's why it has been deducted. Now you can see the Ajit capital is 1,92,450 and the Sujit capital is 1,51,650. Okay. What else liability which we do have in the balance in our partnership final account is sundry creditor given in the old balance, given in the trial balance, which is 1,28,400. Okay. Outstanding expense, you knows it, that in our work adjustment, which is we called as external adjustment, which is mentioned, wages and salaries was outstanding. So one effect we have already given in our trading, and even we have given in the profit and loss. Wages effects we have given in the trading, and salary effect we have given under the profit and loss. Okay. So now the second effect of that we have bring it here under the liability side as outstanding wages and outstanding salary, because it becomes the liability for the firm. They have to pay it again. Now next, let's see this is all about your left side of your balance sheet, which is nothing but a liability. Let's see right side of your balance sheet, which is nothing but your asset side. Okay. Now here in the asset side we have machinery, we have depreciation has been deducted because it was clearly given there is a depre on machinery. वैसे ही फर्नीचर में आप देखो, फर्नीचर पे भी depreciation बोला था, that we have deducted. Why we have deducted? क्यों depreciation assets में से less हुआ? Reason is machinery is being used, so the portion which has been used are supposed to be deducted. That will be considered as depreciation. Okay. Next is prepaid insurance. If you remember, there was an insurance which has been paid advanced, right? So that's why it become our asset. Stock was given. Stock is nothing but our closing stock. If you remember, हमने trading करते वक्त account बनाते वक्त मैंने आपको कल ही बताया था कि second effect जो अपना stock का होता है, at the end when we prepare the balance sheet or a statement, there you can find the stock value. Okay. Debtors है हमारे पास. Debtors is 1,48,100, and there was an RDD. Okay, when we were discussing about the profit and loss, there I have already explained you. ये RDD का second effect आपको debtors पे मिलेगा. Why we have less this RDD here? हमने debtors में से RDD क्यों निकाल दिया? Reason is 7,040 rupees is such rupees which is doubtful whether the firm could able to recover from the debtors. That is doubtful amount. That's why we call, that's why you can find here from data we have less the reserve for doubtful debt. Okay. Next we can see here is bill receivable. Bill receivable, definitely it will be an asset for the company or a firm, right? So bill receivable is an asset we have mentioned. Cash is purely an asset. Okay. Just check whether once if you are solving it, so whether you will get the tally amount of 4,78,360. So 4,78,360 is the amount of balance sheet. And what we did here in this particular question, it was a simple partnership final account question. No admission, no retirement, nothing. Even there is a no प्रॉफिट शेयरिंग रेशियो एज वेल. हमने न्यू प्रॉफिट शेयरिंग रेशियो बनाने सीखा है, कैपिटल रेशियो सीखा है, गेन रेशियो सीखा है, सैक्रिफाइस रेशियो देखे हैं. So there could be a possibility in the question where they ask you to go for sacrificing ratio or a gain ratio. One will be a retiring, one will be an admitted. तो आपको न्यू पीएसआर निकालना पड़ेगा है ना. तो when you will prepare your partner's capital, तो आपको उनका प्रपोर्शन फिर न्यू पीएसआर के हिसाब से शेयर करके देना होता है. बट दैट वाज जस्ट अ वर्किंग नोट. आप जब कैलकुलेट करोगे, दिस द क्वेश्चन वन नंबर वन विच आई हैव टेकन इज बेस्ड ऑन अ सिंपल पार्टनरशिप फाइनल अकाउंट where ratios calculation was not there, it is already given, okay, in the question. But you may find when you will specifically go for especially for the HSC students, when they go for preparation of their final account, they may get such kind of partnership final account, okay, because they have a separate different marks for the another chapter like admission, retirement, death. They have a separate chapter, so a separate question can be asked on admission or retirement, okay. So when they ask you admission or retirement, such kind of a final account or maybe account, so there you may find the ratio calculations comes, capital methods comes. So there basically you may find the reflection of capital method and the ratios, okay. But here for SY BCom or SY BAP students, if you will see, so there will be a share capital or maybe a number of shares calculations or new PSR calculation you will see in case of when they give you the partnership final account where the partners have admitted, where the partners have retired. So such kind of cases may you may find the shares has been calculated. Okay. So this was the very first question which we have taken. Slowly we will move ahead with the second question. I've taken the second question as a if the new one partners get admitted, then what will be the final account and how we will solve. Okay. So let's read the second question of our today's session. Okay. I hope you all are solving. Meanwhile, while going through with the questions and the calculation, any students, if you have any kind of a doubt, you can put up in the chat box. I could answer you wherever you may find the difficulty in understand. Okay. Now moving ahead with the illustration number 2, that is Jaya and Baduri. These are the two partners. Okay, where partnership, we're sharing profit and ratio in the ratio of 3:2. They are sharing the profits ratio with 3:2 from 1st Jan 2019. So that means the initial beginning year month of the year is Jan. Okay, they admitted Amit into the partnership. Now you can see how you will understand whether in my partnership final account which reconstitution of partnership is. Right? हमने reconstitution पढ़ा था. Right? Reconstitution is nothing but the five methods or five modes of reconstitution which we have discussed. So this is a admitted mode of reconstitution, okay, where we have admitted a new partner and the partner name is Amit. Okay, when the Amit have been entered in the business, what he comes up with the conditions. Very first, he is as per the partnership deed, he will be getting 1/6 share in the profit. उसको कितना shares मिलने वाला है? 1/6 shares. Okay. He brought 10,000 cash. Okay. उसने 10,000 क्या लाया है? Cash में लाया है. Of which 3,000 was considered as being a payment for his share of goodwill and the balance as his capital. Okay. तो 10,000 में से जो 3,000 shares है वो that 3,000 portion of that 10,000 is considered as a goodwill. बाकी का जो 7,000 है वो कैसे ला रहा है? कैश के पास. Okay. So 10,000 usually the entire 10,000 amount is in a form of a cash only. Okay. But 3,000 is goodwill and 7,000 is a pure cash. Okay. So let's see the trial balance. What exactly the trial balance shows us. We have a trial balance. I'll just quickly read out the trial balance. So it will help you to identify whether it's a direct expense, indirect expense, direct income, or an indirect income. So that accordingly it helps us to mark it, right? Okay, whether it's a P&L debit item, P&L credit item, balance sheet item. This will help you to understand. Okay. So let's see. We have a trial balance. Drawing is given. Okay. Drawing of three of the partners has been given to you. Okay. Then we have a purchase. Purchases is my direct expense. Will be marked under the trading debit side. Then we have a return inwards. Okay. Then we have a drawing. Uh, then we have a daters. Okay. Then we have return inward. Opening stock. Opening stock again it's a TD item because it will be posted under trading debit side. Wages है trading item. Salary P&L debit item. Building is your asset. Addition to building. In a building में और addition हुआ है. So that addition to building is your asset. We have a patents, postage and telegram. Patent is your again asset. Postage and telegram, it's your indirect expenses. So it will be posted under P&L debit. आप PD बोल के लिख सकते हो. This will help you to understand. Power and fuel. Power and fuel is a direct expense. It's needed in the factory within the company or a firm. So it will be marked as your direct expenses. It's a trading item. General expenses is your P&L item, PD. Rent and rates and taxes, PD. Then there will be a bad debt. Bad debt आपको दिया है. Bad debt again I've told you bad debt means it's a those amount which is not going to be get received, or maybe there will be a doubt of receiving such amount. We called it as a bad debt. Next we have credit side as well. आप देख लो अच्छे से. Outstanding wages है, sales है, returns outward है. Then we have reserve for doubtful debt there also. अच्छा यहाँ पे आप ध्यान में रखिए bad debts है. We have to work on the formula of bad debt. Okay. स्पेशली 12 स्टूडेंट्स आपको ये कैलकुलेशंस को काफी अच्छे से ध्यान में रखना है because when we say bad debt, so there will be an old bad debt, there will be a new bad debt, right? Or there can be a current bad debt which is being calculated. So these all things you have to be taken care of. So here reserve for doubtful debt which is mentioned in your trial, that reserve for bad debt is nothing but your old bad debt. Okay, creditor is given this, payable, dividend, and the capital of Jaya and Baduri is given. Cash paid by Amit is mentioned here because this cash, you can see this cash is a new partner Amit have bring when he enter the business, when he get admitted in the business. So that same 10,000 was appear in the starting part when it was mentioned. Okay. Then floating ahead, we have asset side, we have debit side, prepaid expense, cash, and bill received assets. Okay. So these all are our trial items which we have discussed. There is no hidden as adjustment as such. हाँ एक आप देख सकते हो यहाँ पे loan दिया है, loan to P at 6% per annum. So we have to calculate the loan interest. Interest on loan we are supposed to calculate. That is one hidden adjustment which is mentioned here. Okay. Let's move ahead. We'll go for the another, that is the adjustment. Okay. External adjustments क्या क्या है वो देख लेते हैं. Riddhi, can I get the adjustments here, please? Okay. Now, okay. Riddhi, can I get the adjustments? Yeah, yeah, adjustments. Thank you. So these all are the external adjustments which is being given here. That is closing stock. Now I hope you people are able to understanding the closing stocks effects. As I told you, closing stocks effects will be posted under where one effect will be go as a trading credit side, and the second effect will be posted under the balance sheet assets. Okay, so these are the two effects for this external adjustment. Next is good costing 1000 have been stolen but not entered in the book. Okay, if you remember, I have told you जितना भी good given as a free sample stolen यानी चोरी हो गया हो, या in case of any goods which has been destroyed by fire, whatever. For such kind of adjustments, such kind of adjustment, the one effects will be definitely going to be appear under the trading credit side, and the second will be posted under the P&L debit side, right? But because it's a loss. Okay. So kindly remember that two effects. Next we can see here is write-off of 1/5 of patent. The patent is our intangible assets, right? पेटेंट, कॉपीराइट, इज ऑल आर द इंटेंजिबल. दैट्स व्हाई यहाँ पे आपको डेप्रिसिएशन नहीं लिखा था, वी राइट राइट ऑफ बिकॉज इट्स अ इंटेंजिबल एसेट. वही जगह अगर ये हमारा टैंजिबल एसेट होता तो in case of tangible asset it could be mentioned as depreciation. Okay, so student kindly understand these differences. Okay, when we are supposed to mark as write off, things are similar. आपको 1/5 portion as a depri बोल के लेस करना है. कहीं कहीं आप बुक्स में देखोगे कि डेप्रिसिएशन ही लिखा है. ओके, just to make you ease of understanding that particular adjustment, we do write, but it's a written off part. Okay, bill receivable दिया है आपको and dishonored bill. So we have a bill receivable dishonored. तो इसके दो इफेक्ट्स आप ध्यान में रखो. इसके दो इफेक्ट्स कहाँ कहाँ जाएंगे. बिल रिसीवेबल इंक्लूड बोला है ना. बिल receivable is including one of the dishonored bill. So of course I have to exclude those dishonored bill amount. Okay, so one effect clear हो गया. Where the one effect will go? One effect will be less from my bill receivable. अभी second, bill receivable, usually bills is drawn on whom? On debtor, right? So जो भी dishonored amount है वो हमको क्या करना पड़ेगा? So secondly what we are supposed to do? We have to add to the debtor. ठीक है, तो हमको डेटर्स में वो पर्टिकुलर अमाउंट को ऐड करना पड़ेगा. ओके, सो दैट इज द सेकंड इफेक्ट. नेक्स्ट इज मेंटेन रिजर्व फॉर डाउटफुल डेट. ओके, हमने जब मेंटेन रिजर्व फॉर डाउटफुल डेट बोला है तो मेंटेन रिजर्व ऑन डाउटफुल डेट इज नथिंग बट द RDD. And I have already told you, whenever we say RDD, two effects are, one will be less from that particular asset. Which was those asset? That is a debtor. हमको एक डेटर में से क्या करना पड़ेगा? लेस करना पड़ेगा. एंड सेकेंड इफेक्ट विल बी शोन अंडर द प्रॉफिट एंड लॉस अकाउंट डेबिट साइड. ओके, नेक्स्ट यू कैन सी देयर इज अ depreciation on building. ठीक है, depreciation we all are aware of. Depreciation we have to give one effect from asset side, it will be less, यानी building से less हो जाएगा. And second effect it will be post under the profit and loss account. Why? Because it's an indirect expenses. Okay, what they said here, necessary adjustment in connection with the admission is to be made through current account of partner. देखो यहाँ उन्होंने स्पेसिफिकली बताया कैपिटल अकाउंट नहीं बनाना है, आपको नाम क्या देना है वो अकाउंट को? करंट अकाउंट नाम देना है. ठीक है, so here we are going to prepare a partner's current account. Goodwill should not appear in the book. Very important. We have a 3000 का goodwill but it will not appear in the book, and we are supposed to prepare the trading P&L and balance sheet. Okay, okay, no problem. Priti, go ahead with the trading account. Now, we have trading account here. Now, in trading account, what we will do, first of all, as we did in the earlier problem, we will post all the direct expenses and direct income from the trial balance. Opening stock was given, then they have given you the purchase. Purchase में we were there, we were having a purchase return value, that also we have less. Then there was a wages, and as you know, wages usually where we are supposed to post wages, wages is supposed to be posted under the debit side of your trading, so we call as a TD. Okay, then next what it is, we are having a power and fuel. Power and fuel is your again direct expense है वो अपना, तो कहाँ पोस्ट करोगे आप? P&L, sorry, trading debit में. Then we have a sales. Sales will be posted on the credit side of your trading. You can or there was a return on sale, right? Certain amount of sale which has been returned back by the customer, so that you can see we are supposed to return or less from the sale value. Then we have a goods stolen. If you remember, I've told you, good loss by fire, good loss by theft, or maybe goods has been given as a free sample, goods has been stolen. ये सब चीजों का आप ज़्यादा अच्छे से ध्यान में रखो. ये adjustments definitely many times comes in the questions in the exam. So by goods stolen is one of the direct expenses, direct income which you have to mention. Closing stock दिया है आपको. This is nothing but not our trading closing stock. This is our adjustment closing stock. ठीक है. So adjustments closing stock have one effect here, and second will be posted in your balance sheet. Okay. Like this way, make the total, find the difference. The difference is coming 63,163. Okay. So this is your gross profit, or we can say the balance of your trading account. These balance we have bring under the profit and loss. यही balance को हमने निकाला है profit and loss में credit side. Okay. Now moving ahead to profit and loss. Let's see profit and loss में क्या क्या हमको दिया है. as I've told you, profit and loss will record all the indirect expenses and indirect income. Fine. So we have in profit and loss salary. Salary is a purely an indirect expenses जो हमने यहाँ ला लिया. Then we have loss on goods stolen. Just now if you remember हमने ऊपर अभी debit side में mention किया था loss on or maybe the goods stolen. Same second effect has been shown under the P&L debit side. Okay. Bad debts है. Bad debt is one of our indirect expenses. Bad debt was given. There was an old RDD and new RDD. Old RDD आपको ट्रायल में मिलेगा. ठीक है. And new RDD was given in the adjustment. So this value has been taken from there only. But ये ध्यान में रखो old RDD are supposed to be less and the new RDD are supposed to be add. Why we less the old RDD? By assuming that the old recovery has been recovered. So we are supposed to less from that, and the new amount of debt which has not been yet recovered are supposed to add in our data. Okay, so that's why in bad debt you may find the new RDD is being added and the old RDD is being deducted. ठीक है. Credit में हमारे पास क्या है? Dividend है. It is one of your indirect income. Then interest due on loan. If you remember, this was one of the hidden adjustment which they have given us. That hidden adjustment has been calculated. Why? Here they have given, see, 5,000 was there and 6% का rate of interest उन्होंने बताया था. Now you can calculate it for the 4 months. Okay, 4 months, because they have given you the date, and you can calculate we are getting a interest due which is of only 4 months, which comes 100. Next we have a depreciation, and that depreciation again, as I said, depreciation is purely based on your indirect expense. तो हमने बिल्डिंग और पेटेंट दोनों लिखा. पेटेंट के लिए मैंने स्पेसिफिकली आपको अंडरस्टैंडिंग के लिए डेप्रिसिएशन लिखा है. फॉर पेटेंट एक्चुअली इट्स अ रिटर्न ऑफ अमाउंट. ओके. Then next we have a postage and telegram, purely an indirect expense. General reserve, purely an indirect expense. Riddhi, can I get the further part of the P&L account? Okay. Okay. The further part of our P&L account, if you will see, general reserve दिया है. Okay. And next we can go for the closing part of your profit and loss. आप ending part देखो जहाँ पे हम profit and loss account close करते हैं, right? Where we have general reserve, rent, rates and taxes. Net profit आपको दिया है. Net profit of is being shared. Whatever the profit, net profit is there, it should be shared among all the 3 partners on their new PSR. If you remember, कल ही मैंने आपको new PSR calculations बताए. In a 1 rupee, if 1/6 portion is bring by the Amit as a C or new partner or admitted partner, then we need to calculate our new PSR, and this distribution has been made as per the new PSR. Okay. Now moving ahead to the next. Here they said कि prepare the partner current account. ठीक है. तो हमने अभी तक क्या बनाया? ट्रेडिंग बनाया, पार्टनर्स कैपिटल बनाए. नाउ वी आर गोइंग फॉर द पार्टनर्स करंट अकाउंट. ठीक है. जो भी हमको कैपिटल एडजस्टमेंट दिखाने हैं ना, वो सारे कैपिटल एडजस्टमेंट दिखाएंगे पार्टनर्स करंट अकाउंट में दिखाएंगे. ठीक है. Ready? Am I get the current account? Partners current account here and this, and then with that we can close our second practical questions also. Okay. Yes, Riddhi, can I get the partners current account? Okay. In the partners, yeah, move ahead bit. Oh, thank you. So in partners current account, you can see there was a drawing which was given in the trial balance. So that drawing was the very first item in the trial balance. That drawing value we have bring it under debit side. There was an Amit capital which is of 3,000. If you remember, ये 3,000 हमारा value जो 1,800 and 1,200 है, हमने goodwill settled किया. If you remember, yesterday I have shown you treatment of goodwill. Okay. When it is purely mentioned, if you remember yesterday's session, I have mentioned there in one slide the treatment of goodwill. When the goodwill is raised by the admitted partner and the goodwill will not appear in the balance sheet, this doesn't mean कि 3,000 का goodwill आप कहीं रिकॉर्ड ही मत करो. इसका मतलब ऐसा नहीं होता है. Okay, आपको क्या करना होगा? वो जो 3,000 का goodwill है वो adjust ओल्ड पार्टनर में करना पड़ेगा इन देयर ओल्ड रेशियो. ठीक है. तो ये जो 1800 और 1200 है, दिस वैल्यू हैज बीन nothing but it is your goodwill 3000 value which has been shared among the old partner on their old ratio. And now आप आगे चल के जब आप बैलेंस शीट देखोगे तो goodwill is will not appear in the balance sheet. Why? Because they have strictly mentioned the goodwill is not supposed to appear in the balance sheet. So that means what we did, we have adjusted the goodwill in the current account itself. Okay. Now, as usual, you will bring the net profit of your profit and loss account. Net profit लाया है हमने तीनों partners के, and finally the partners current account is get closed. Okay, let's come to the balance sheet. The last is statement of our this particular problem. Okay, now in balance sheet you can see we have first of all taken a partners capital. Jaya, Baduri and Amit, all three partners capital value, capital balance ले लिया हमने. Partners current account because we have prepared a current account. So from that current account we got this all balances which we have bring it here. Then we have a creditor as one of our liability which appear under the liability side of your balance sheet. Bills payable is the another liability which we have. Rent payable as one of the liability, and outstanding wages. So these all are the liability side, which, liability items which we have mentioned on the left hand side of our balance sheet. Asset side, which we can say on the right hand side of the balance sheet, you can see there is a building. And if you remember, there was a building which was purchased in the during the year. That's why it is mentioned additional addition on building, or we can say the additional building is being purchased, right? So that building was purchased and that value has been mentioned. But आप एक चीज mention you can easily observe here. I have mentioned depreciation, two amount I have mentioned. That means you have to see additional buildings debris will be calculated separately and the total debris will be calculated separately. And at the end we have added both, and 700 which we are getting is our total debris on the building, means old buildings and plus the new building which is purchased, the total of both. Patents we have 7300, and there, we have a written off value which was mentioned, the patents has to be write off. So that value we have taken up here. Okay. Next, if there was a loan to P. There was a loan to P. Okay. So when we say the loan to P, so there was an interest due on loan. If you remember this, they have given there is an interest on loan. Okay. So हमने क्या किया, loan to P value which is 5000 and interest due was 100 rupees. So that we have taken. So it comes 5100. Next is investment purely as an asset. So that we have taken as an investment. Next is data. Okay, very important here is if you see in data there is a two specific adjustment. In the red mark it was mentioned. Data value was 40,200 given in our trial balance. Okay, add क्या कर दिया हमने, bill dishonored, right? From where we'll get this bill dishonored? There was an adjustment which say the bill has been dishonored. Okay, so bill receivable include, that was the adjustment, bill receivable include the bill dishonored, right? तो इसीलिए हमने उसका एक इफेक्ट क्या कर दिया, bill receivable में से less कर दिया. We have deducted from the bill receivable, and what we did, we have added in the data. Why we'll add in the data? Because that much bill, see, bill is usually raised on data. Okay, so that's why the effects of bill discounted or dishonored will be appear on the data's itself. Okay, so you can see here from data we have added the bill dishonored value and less the new RDD. What is new RDD? As I have told you, new RDD is nothing but it's our amount which is being not recovered from the data. Okay, so that becomes as one of our we have to deduct those much that much amount. Why we have to deduct? Because from data I am not receiving the 100% amount. There is certain amount which is still pending. Okay, Riddhi, can I get the end part of our balance sheet? Okay, thank you. Upper, bit upper. Okay, we have here prepaid insurance. If you see the prepaid insurance, it is 524. It was given in the old balance, trial balance. Then we have a cash and bank balance. It was given. Stock, directly it was given. What is stock? This stock is nothing but your closing stock given in your adjustment. Okay, or we can call it as your external adjustment. Okay, then we were having a bill receivable. A very pure, clear adjustment was mentioned as bill receivable. Why? Because bill receivable में से हमने क्या किया? Less dishonored. Now, what is this dishonored value? It was clearly mentioned कि bill receivable. Okay, from that the bill receivable includes the bill dishonored value. Okay, so what we did, from bill receivable we have less the dishonored part. Okay, that appear on the right hand side of your balance sheet. By this way we have did our practical problem for today. Okay, like this you can prepare or practice again some more questions. Here in this admission of partner, what we did, हमने new PSR calculate किया है. I have not shown here calculation part, but I hope you are understand from the yesterday's session कि when we say a new partner admitted, okay, so when new partner admitted, definitely he sacrificed, right? The old one or someone other earlier partners will definitely going to be sacrificed. Okay, this is very first thing. And the second important thing is the whatever the profit in the business henceforth it will be there, it will be shared among all the three partners on their new PSR. It will be shared among all the partners on the new PSR, and that we did it in the question here. We have calculated the new PSR, and on that basis we have distributed the profit of all the partners. Okay, so I hope students you have understood the session till here. We have covered almost all the like theoretical as well as the practical aspects. Now you are quite ready for solving the n number of problems. Go through with practice of n number of problems of in the book, from where you can able to catch some new adjustments, some new trial items, some new trial balances. Sorry, some new items in the from the trial. Okay, if there is any questions, if any students may have, they can put up the questions in the chat box. I will definitely love to answer your questions. So Riddhi, if there is any question or in the chat box, definitely let me know. We could answer those questions. Or else, in case students you may have any kind of a question related to partnership final account, you can post your question in our telegram group as well. Okay, or you can post it or maybe convey to the Dr. Nishikant Jha sir as well. What I will do is I can connect to them and definitely plan to answer your questions if you have. uh, Riddhi, is there you're getting any question in the chat box?
No, ma'am, there's just some feedback link that they've been asking. Rest, I don't feel there's any kind of questions that we're expecting from them.
Fine, fine, fine. No problem. No problem. What we will do in case of any questions arises, so kindly they can put up their questions in the Telegram group. We could answer from there itself. No issue. Okay. So with this
Surely,
note,
ma'am. Surely, ma'am.
yeah, yeah, yeah. No problem. What we will do, we could end our today's session. Here we are almost ended our session for 2 days partnership final account which I have taken. Even
Yes, ma'am.
yeah, and expecting from the student any kind of difficulties or doubts if they have, we could answer them whenever there will be a possibility. Okay, and with this note, I end the today's session, and thanks to the entire IA team. Okay, especially the students group, the students team who have really helped me out a lot in my for delivering my 2 days session. I could read out their names like Riddhi Jain, who have really helped me out for last 2 days for conducting, the or making this session successful. Kanish, really thankful Kanish for helping out. Along with that, Vignesh is also quite connect with me for today's session, and the entire Indian Accounting Association, all the higher bodies like treasurers and the chairman, Dr. Arvind Lohar sir. Uh, Hope I would meet you again with some good sessions as per your requirement, whatever it is, kindly put up, and definitely I could help you out to provide my knowledge wherever and it is possible. Thank you all. Be safe, be home, be at home, right? Keep learning, but keep learning and keep growing. Okay, thank you.